back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive today because it is going to be the 11/11 portal when we post this. It's 11/11 portal is tomorrow, November 11th. Always powerful days, these portal energies. And remember, there's always portals opening up and gateways opening up. It's just about consciously choosing to step through into new energy, new frequency, making new choices through higher levels of consciousness and higher levels of awareness. So these portals are always opening up. You will never miss what you were meant for. Do not let anybody make you fear, oh my gosh, this portal's closing or this portal's opening. No, there's always portals opening up. You are exactly where you're meant to be, and you always are able to make that conscious choice at any time. Remember, you are a powerful, empowered, sovereign being. Okay? So I feel like, especially, you guys, we're going to talk about this another time, but especially in the spiritual landscape, it's really important to remember that, to trust your inner guidance, trust your intuition, trust your own heart, and keep connecting to yourself and forging that connection between yourself and God's source that is always there, that you're never, ever separate from. That is the ultimate illusion. The ultimate illusion is that you're separate from God. I'm going to put a couple of links in the description box, including my Healing and Harmony freebie, which is the separation video. If you want to really understand what we are clearing out and healing on this ascension journey, especially the sacred union path of ascension, is we are healing the illusion of separation. What is separation? So I have a Healing and Harmony series available on my website, and what I did was I have activations. It's readings, channelings, and activations, light language transmissions for keywords. So if you're healing the keyword of betrayal, if you're healing the keyword of forgiveness, if you're healing the keyword of the karmic or of the inner child, for example, you can go ahead and pick and choose which video you'd like to purchase, or I do have it as a discount, the whole series, at least part 1 of the series. So you can check that out. We do have the separation video as well. I also want to point you to the recent collective message that I did yesterday, which was Understanding Sacred Anger with Kali Ma. That came about unexpectedly because there was some anger that was coming up in the collective, which was very interesting to me because I hadn't felt that anger in quite a while. And I spent some time with myself and spent some time with Callie, who has been kind of like a guardian for me, definitely a guide along my own journey to really help me stand up for myself, have those boundaries, speak up for myself, express myself in those healthy ways, especially when it comes to anything that I am feeling. And so we talked a little bit about the collective energy. And when I say the collective energy, I mean more the global collective versus those who are twin flames or on the sacred union path. This felt more globally collective. And so we talked a little bit with Callie. We talked a little about what is sacred anger. We talked a little about fear. So check that out. We're going to have a more in-depth reading with Kelly coming up. Part of why I am closing to personal readings, except for Patreon members and except for the year ahead readings, the 2024 year ahead readings, is because I want to do more of these deep dives. I want to do more of these sacred channelings. I had intended to do some this week, but I'm getting caught up on the last of the personal readings. So we have Merlin coming up, Mother Mary, and I think Callie too. So make sure that you're staying tuned to Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, and we'll have some more there. Okay, so I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive and see what's going on with the counterpart connections, especially when it comes to the 11/11. 11/11, as we know, is the mirrored energy, and it's a powerful energy of awakening. It's a powerful energy of ascension. And so remember, as within, so without, the macro to the micro to the macro, everything is interconnected. So what you're experiencing on your inner journey or your sacred union journey is also being experienced within the global collective as well. Maybe on a different level, but there is nothing that is not connected within our journeys. And so you're experiencing within your spiritual journey on one level, and the global collective might be experiencing it on a different level as well. But the more that you go through your awakening journey and your ascension journey, you can see all the dots. You can connect all the dots. And so make sure that when you're watching these readings that you're taking the divine masculine, the divine feminine for your inner masculine and feminine. You can use it for understanding and having compassion and holding space for whatever it is that your counterpart might be experiencing. If you identify with a relationship connection such as twin flame, soulmate, or higher level soulmate or sacred partner, and also make sure that you are taking it to understand what might be happening collectively within, the world, from that standpoint as well. So, 1111, if we narrow it down, especially for those who are on the sacred union path or the twin flame path, that is known as the twin flame number because of the mirroring that happens there. But it is a number of awakening. It is a number of ascension. It is a number of the universe kind of saying, "Hey, this is your beginning." And it is almost like what I'm hearing is a quantum leap, like you're making a quantum leap with regards to your evolution, your internal evolution. So what I want to do is I just want to see where is the energy for the masculine and the feminine and their union right now. And I'm going to use the Twin Flame Ascension deck. I feel guided to use this one. So what's going on with the divine masculine? We have 1010, enter your vortex, aligning with infinite abundance. I'm going to stop and talk about this for a minute because this is kind of the energy that I'm feeling. It's interesting that it's 1010 and not quite 1111 because I feel like they're almost there. I feel like these divine masculines, they've been going through their ascension process. We've been talking about how their ascension has been speeding up. And divine feminines, you go through your ascension, divine masculines go through their ascension. And on the highest level, energetically, you're doing it together. And they show me this as like an apex. Like on the highest level, it's the two of you. Let me get. I did not expect to be doing teachings today, but here we are. Okay. So from the highest level, this is what they showed me once with the Three of Pentacles. They said, this is your union. At the highest level, you're one together. And this is you with God's source as well. And then you split into two different bodies, two different physical forms. And so there's divine masculine, divine feminine, but you're still connected. You just might be going on your individual personal human journeys, but you're still connected. And on the highest level, this is your higher selves that are guiding this. This is your souls that are guiding this. So imagine, your souls still communicating, and that's where you have telepathy. You're still connected. Everything, again, is interconnected. So this is, I'm just seeing, this is one piece of the universal puzzle. Like this is you and your counterpart. And remember, twin flame is an energy. I'll link that in description as well. Twin flame is an energy. That's what we learned, is that it's like the Vesica Pisces. You have one phase of your journey, which is like the twin flame. It's like this is where you go through your awakening, and you have the catalyst moment where you recognize each other, and maybe there is all that soul sludge that comes up. Maybe there's all that the programming, the beliefs that comes up to be cleared, to be healed. This is your healing journey. And then you go through maybe a little bit of a void, maybe a little bit of a transition energy. This energy here, they're saying, is the separation from your counterpart. But in that separation, remember, separation is a perception, separation is illusion. In this separation, in this in-between, is when you are just kind of honing the energies within yourself, your own ascension, where you are honing your self-mastery, honing your skills, learning how to love yourself more without the dependency, without the validation, without the whatever of another person. Now, that does not mean to say that you're completely on your own here. You have soul family. You have soul tribe. You have people and resources and loved ones who are still supporting you. You have your guides from the other side. So this is not isolation. You're not on your own. You might just go through a little bit of a period of separation from the counterpart as you're moving into this journey. And this can last for however long it needs to. And when I say that, I mean everything is energy, and energy can shift very quickly. So it can last an hour, it can last a couple of days, it can last a year, it can last years. This separation will be different for everybody. It's just whatever it is that your soul has determined for you. Everybody's path up the mountain is a little bit different. It's going to look a little bit different. Don't compare yourself to others. That's another really important thing to learn on this journey. There is no blueprint. There might be a collective energy. There might be periods where our journeys look the same as other people, but And there might be certain frameworks and systems and ways that you can do your healing, but your journey is personal to you. When it comes to ascension, I don't believe there's one way to hack the system, because you are the system. Your own journey, your own ascension, your own healing, your own recognition of the sacredness within you and the connection to God's source is hacking the system. So there, wherever you are on your journey, trust where you are, and not trying to rush it, not trying to force it, not trying to control it is one of the major tenets that you have to learn, one of the major lessons that you have to learn along your journey. And so then we have what I call the twin soul, and I differentiate the twin flame and the twin soul because the twin soul is like it could be the same person, but it feels different. This feels more harmonious. This feels more peaceful. Does it mean that there's not challenges? You're still experiencing this with another physical human in a relationship with another physical human, but it feels more conscious. You're consciously working together. You're consciously growing together. You're consciously building your relationship and even your life together. It's a much different energy than where you were in the past, because you are very different than where you were in the past. I call this the higher heart ascension. So we go through different phases of our journey, different levels of consciousness and different frequencies, and then this could be somebody else. Remember, twin flame is an energy, so it could be embodied in somebody else, or it could be the person that you were catalyzed with. And the whole point is to allow yourself to open up to every possibility and every potential without holding on, because that holding on is what creates resistance. So they showed this to me as the Three of Pentacles once, saying you're still connected to God's source. You're always connected to God's source. They showed God's source to me at like the pinnacle here, but this is also you, like your soul, your higher self. And then you have the physical embodiments here. So going back to the divine masculine, I feel like they are entering a new level of awakening and entering a new level of awareness. And again, we go through many layers of spiritual growth. We go through many levels of our ascension journey. And we can go through many layers and levels of spiritual awakening, and then ascension is like a whole new ballgame. No matter how spiritual or conscious you believe you are, when you go through your ascension journey, it is a different set of rules. It is a different understanding. It is a deeper understanding. And it all comes back to connection within the self. And what I mean by that is as you're raising your frequency and shifting your consciousness, so it's like your frequency raises, you can feel it in your energy, your vibration changes. Maybe things that were bothering you don't bother you anymore, or maybe you're experiencing things from new and higher perspectives, more compassion, more peace within. You're anchoring in and integrating a new energy, and you can feel that you're not the same person that you were. And the reason for that is you're going deeper and deeper and deeper into that inner spiral to connection to yourself. And who is yourself? It is the core of you, the soul of you. It is that which is the divine inside of you. And so that's this vortex that the divine masculine, I feel, is entering and has been entering. I think we were channeling this last year, that I really feel like the Lionsgate last year, not this year's Lionsgate, but last year, really created an accelerated ascension. Like it really moved them through a portal that really had them shifting within themselves. And I feel like it's just getting faster and faster and faster. It's just picking up speed. And divine feminines, you might have gone through a couple of years of this journey, a couple of years of your ascension. Divine feminines, you have taken it a little bit slower, perhaps. But that's because you take the lead energetically with regards to your spiritual journey, with regards to the energetic journey. Divine masculine, they're catching up. Now, when I say catch up, it's not like they're falling behind. We have to put this into context of energy. It's not that they're falling behind, and it's not that you're above them. You're not above or below. You are equal to each other. That is the divine union. You're equal, coming into that balance. And that's what's happening is divine feminines, you kind of go first because you have an understanding of the nature of this journey, and you're very highly connected to the universe. Doesn't mean that the divine masculines are not, but they just are connected in a different way. They're much more grounded. They're much more earthly. Some might actually work with the earth. Some might work with the grid. Some might work with ley lines, things like that. Much more earthly. I want to say earthbound, and it's not bound as in like bound to the earth, but it's a bound as in earthbound as in grounded. Much more focused on the physical rather than the energy or the energetics. And so what happens is the divine feminine's energy, she brings those codes and those templates down, and the masculine energy takes that and grounds that into the physical, and you experience that within yourself, where as you begin to embody those higher templates and higher light codes, you begin to then share that or exude that in your physical experience, right? Whether that's your self-expression, communication, whether that is, in business, in dynamics, whatever that is, you're embodying that now. That's the masculine energy. The masculine energy is like that embodiment. What do you do with it? Masculine energy is active. What do you do with it? And so for the masculine, you're two sides of the same coin, right? Two parts of the same whole is the way that they brought it to me. And so what's happening is the masculine energy, who is very accustomed to just doing and very accustomed to like the physical plane, as their inner feminine begins to rise, they feel more in tune with themselves, and they're coming online so that their mind and their heart, their higher self and their their intuition or their heart is now in alignment, so that they begin to act or embody that higher self. You're both doing the same thing. You're just doing it from two different vantage points, from two different angles. And that's why so much miscommunication can happen when you're in this phase. And that's why you trigger yourself so much, because it's like, why can't you just see things from my point of view? Why can't you see things from my point of view? It's because it's different points of view. It's the same. It's like, how they say that the 69, like, is it a 6 or is it a 9? It's only because of how you're looking at it, but it's the same number. And so, or it's maybe not the same number, but it's the same. Yeah, it's the same drawing. It's like a 6 or it's a 9, but it's the same thing. It's the same structure. It's just the way that you're looking at it. Neither are wrong and neither are right. It's just your perspective. It's just your vantage point. And so with the divine masculine and the divine feminine, you're coming at it from those two different perspectives. And when you reach this higher state of consciousness, that's how you can continue to grow and expand. Because it's saying, it's almost like humbling yourself to say, this is how we can continue to help and grow and expand with each other. It's not a teacher-student dynamic, which makes it very unbalanced and very uneven and can create all sorts of havoc with the ego. I've experienced that. But it's like, this is how we grow together, because we both have pieces of this puzzle for ourselves and for our growth and for our ascension, because at the highest level, you are still one. At the highest level, you're still one. And so what's happening is the divine masculine is really beginning to understand this, and understand this from a deep level, because they're beginning to tune into themselves and understand themselves on a deep level. We're going to go one level down and kind of see what's happening within the physical realm, but this is what's happening from the higher perspective, from the energetic perspective, is that they are closing out cycles, completing karma, and leveling up into, and I feel like this 1111 is going to be very pivotal for the divine masculines, especially divine feminines. You feel like you're holding space during this 1111 portal. Divine masculines, I feel like they're really entering into, they're having breakthroughs, is what I just heard. So they might be having some tower moments, but remember, the tower moments create breakthroughs, and it's only when you're in too much resistance that you create like chaos within yourself from those tower moments. The tower doesn't have to be as destructive as we fear it to be. It's only when we're in resistance that it creates that kind of havoc in our lives. But tower moments create breakthroughs, always. Always. And so what happens is, I feel, so they're bringing me a reading that we did many, many, many years ago about the tower crumbling down. And the tower had to crumble because it was based on a false foundation, or a faulty foundation, a foundation that isn't in alignment with the soul, isn't in alignment with the truth of who you are. And so what's happening now is I feel like the towers have crumbled, and now they're forming a new foundation for themselves based on their authentic self, based on integrity, based on compassion for themselves, based on value for themselves, and building up their own love and building up their own worth that had been missing from that foundation in the past. Now, when we're saying those things, this is not the ego's arrogance and cockiness. There's a difference. So we have to, again, put it into context. Always when you're watching readings and listening to teachings, put it into context. So this is about the sacred masculine, the conscious masculine. And confidence is a very different energy. And that's what I feel like they're building. They're building new confidence within themselves. They're building new feelings of security and stability within themselves. They're building it based on connection to themselves and self-love, because they've been going within to understand themselves. And that's what creates a healthy foundation that they can actually build a future on. And that's where the old tower had to crumble, because it was faulty, because they didn't have those tenets, they didn't have those soul aspects of themselves that they were tapped in and tuned into. And so what's happening, aligned with infinite abundance, is because they're tuning into the infinite abundance within themselves, no longer in victimhood, no longer in scarcity, no longer in lack, no longer in no sense of value or no sense of worth or no sense of confidence, no longer in instability, no longer in chaos. They're releasing all of that, and that's part of the closure. That's part of the endings that are happening. That's part of this inner spiral. They're going deeper and deeper and deeper. For some, this might be a dark night of the soul, especially if there had been a ton of resistance. It's almost like the universe is like, listen, this is going to happen no matter what. So allow yourself to surrender, or you're going to be pushed. And so for those who are surrendering, it's going to feel a little bit smoother, and it's going to feel like the breakthroughs are going to come much more easily. For those who are in resistance, they might go through a couple more cycles. They might go through a couple more loops around their ascension. But they'll get it eventually, because everybody does. It's ascension. Like, you have to. So I feel like we're going to speak now only for those who are really going through that growth and really through that conscious evolution. They're going to be building up that foundation now, and it's going to be in alignment with who they are, the soul of who they are, the truth of who they are, where they have been avoiding that or denying that or suppressing that or withholding that in any way, dimming their light in any way. And it's going to be very clear which ways they've been holding themselves back, which ways they're not in alignment with their soul. It's going to be very clear to them. The more that they release those old versions of themselves and create a healthier foundation within themselves, they're going to naturally align with more abundance. And that abundance is going to come in physical form. So, an interesting energy and beautiful energy for the divine masculine. This is growth. This is absolutely growth. What's going on for the divine feminine with this 1111 portal? I like this. We have 2-2 divine order. Practice patience. So what did I say? I'm just getting spirituals now. The holding space for the divine feminines. What I'm actually seeing in my mind's eye with this card is like the merkaba. And I feel like the divine feminine is kind of holding space within that merkaba. Where I feel like she's holding space for the divine masculine so that they can come into that union, so that they can come into that divine partnership. And it happens first energetically, right? I feel like it's almost like the merkaba is like almost like a protective bubble, like a protective holding space for her. It doesn't mean that she's not still active. It doesn't mean that she's not still, on her own journey and doing her own thing and walking her own path, etc., etc., etc. You're not waiting. This is not waiting. It's just holding the space. And I feel like energetically that's what's happening. I don't quite know how to say this, how to articulate it. Patience is not putting your life on hold. Holding space is just that, holding space energetically. So divine feminines, I feel like you are might be called to rest more, might be called to nurture yourself more, nourish yourself more, take care of your energy more, because I feel like within this holding space you might be transmuting, and I feel like that's where the merkaba is kind of like a protective energy for you, because I feel like this is like you're not so that your frequency isn't affected. That's what like you're holding space for, so that your frequency isn't affected, so that through your higher frequency and that higher consciousness, you're able to hold a space to be able to transmute any energy that needs to be transmuted. I don't just feel like you're doing this for your masculine, although I feel like they're saying yes, that's important, but I feel like you're doing this for the global collective as well, because remember, you know, macro to the micro, micro to the macro, like you're doing this for the global collective as well. This is what these twin flames are for. Twin flames is not for physical relationship. That is like the icing on the cake. That's how you express your love with each other. It's you can have a physical relationship with each other if that is what you so choose, but it's not, you don't have to. That's not the point. And it's really important to understand that sacred union is not a goal. It's not like, oh, I've attained union and everything's going to be great. That's not the goal. You're always in union. You're always in union. It's just that you have forgotten and you have given into the illusion of separation. Union is not a goal, and it's not like, oh, I've attained this, so everything's going to be peace and harmony and love from now on. Union, coming into balance with your partner, well, first of all, yourself, means that you're raising into a higher level of frequency, a higher level of consciousness. And when you come into that connection and union with your partner, with your counterpart, it's so that you can consciously then continue to grow together. And that energy of that union, of that higher level of consciousness together, creates new templates, creates new codes, has a ripple effect on other people, has a ripple effect on the rest of the world and the energy of the rest of the world, because you're now operating from that place of consciousness and from that place of unconditional love. But you still have a physical relationship with each other. You still have, you still might have physical challenges and lessons and experiences within your human form. I think that we kind of get so caught up in the relationship aspect of it that we lose sight of what actually is that union, what actually is that the purpose. And it is for the growth. It is for the journey, and the journey continues just into higher levels, and that's why I call it the higher heart ascension. And so you're moving away from this is like the lower 3D view of it. And we've all been there. So, I mean, that's why I always say have compassion for yourself and for what you didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. I can fully admit I was there too. If you go back to any of my earlier readings and stuff, like I was absolutely there. But through the evolution of your journey, you move into a higher heart ascension and you expand and you understand things from different perspectives. And the higher heart ascension is more peace and more harmony, and you feel that anchored in, and that's how you relate to other people. And your connection with your counterpart is going to be the most sacred and the most intimate and even the most vulnerable, and that's where the growth is. But you also carry that forward into your connections, maybe with children, into your connections with family, into your connections with strangers, with coworkers, with friends, with everybody else in the world. It's how do you relate? How do you connect? You connect in more conscious ways, in more loving ways. And your counterpart is your greatest teacher, your greatest guide, your greatest reflection, your greatest mirror of that. Okay? So Divine Feminines, I feel like you're kind of just holding space with this 1111 portal. And I also feel like maybe even diving into more spiritual studies. This feels very internal. We've been talking about that for a couple of months now, that I feel like I think this started coming in August until the end of the year, maybe a little bit beyond the end of the year, February or so. I feel like there's going to be this internal process where, yeah, you might still go out and, be social and stuff like that, but there's an internal process that's going on where you might be called to go within, maybe continue your spiritual studies, connecting with God's source, the universe, tuning into your own inner self. There's this energy of kind of cutting out the noise and cutting out the chatter and cutting out the distractions and that kind of thing. It's an internal process so that when you do come out of it in the next year, like in February or whenever this is, it's like the spokes of a sun. There's an evolution and a change that's going on within you, and I feel like it's just going to like burst forth into just more of an embodiment of your very sacredness. So there's a little bit of a hibernation and internal process that's going on for you. We've talked about that in the past couple of weeks as well. What's going on for the union energies? Remember your identity. You can do it. Yeah, this is what you're doing is you're removing the masks. You're removing everything that you thought you were. You're letting go of, especially on this journey, you're letting go of this version and you're moving into the higher heart. This is the embodiment. This is the ascension. And I feel like what they're saying is 1111, this portal energy. And again, you can make this choice at any time. It doesn't have to be November 11th. Whenever you're coming across this video, you can make the conscious choice, yes, I'm ready to move into that higher heart ascension, to move into more of an embodiment of your sacred self, your authentic self, your true self, your connection to God, source, and the universe, to expand within that energy, to open up within that energy, to really connect with your internal being, the internal energy within you, that you are everything. And remember to trust the process as well. Remember to trust where you are. Again, everybody's going up the mountain, and everybody's path up the mountain might be a little bit different. The mountain's the same, but everybody's path might look a little bit different. And sometimes you might find people who are really resonating with your path, and sometimes you might find that you're kind of feel like you're walking up that path alone. You're never alone, and you're exactly where you need to be. Just keep trusting the process. Just keep trusting. Just keep anchoring into your connection to yourself, your connection to the universe and God, source, whatever it is that you prefer to call it. Just keep anchoring into your inner heart, dropping into your inner heart, your higher heart, and tuning into the soul of yourself. And I feel like that's what this process is going to be all about. Really learning to tune into the heart space, into the soul space, without any of the mask that you had before. I feel like I can speak for myself. I've gone through tremendous growth in the past year alone. That I can't even believe who I was. And when I even look back at yesterday, or a couple days ago, or a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, that growth is just like quantum leaped. It's just accelerated. It's like I can't even, like, even who I was a couple of days ago is not who I am now. And that's growth, that's evolution. And it's more of an embodiment. You're continuing, you've already taken that huge leap. That's what your ascension journey catalyzed you to. Your ascension catalyzed you to the evolution of yourself. And the more that you embody that self, the more you anchor it in. And I'm seeing that in how I am learning to be unafraid to speak up, learning to be unafraid to really express myself, learning to be unafraid, just unafraid, period. And that has been an evolution. When I look back at my personal development, before I was even consciously on a spiritual journey, back in like 2013, 2014, I shared this yesterday, it's like I can see that was consistent with my spiritual growth. But now that I'm consciously aware of it, it's like it's accelerating, it's expanding, and I'm going deeper and deeper and deeper within to that authentic sense of self, to really connecting with myself, to really honoring myself and embodying my true nature, and learning more and more and more who that is. And that's the process of evolution. And so I feel like when it comes to, like, this is like a union energy, like when it comes to your union, it's like you're both doing this, maybe again from two different vantage points, but you're still both doing this. And it's like, don't give up. Don't give up on your journey. Don't give up on your ascension. Don't give up on your evolution. And when I say don't give up, I'm not saying hold on with everything that you've got. I'm saying don't give up on how far you've come and where you've yet to go, because the journey is continuing to unfold. And when I mean don't hold on, it's like don't hold on to what you knew. You have to allow yourself to let go in order to evolve. Let go of the past. Let go of past versions of yourself. Let go of past versions of your counterpart. Let go of specifics. Let go of expectations. Let go of outcomes. Let go of timing. And that's what you let go of. But you let it unfold. So allow yourself to trust this process. All right, we're going to move over to the Patreon for an extended reading. We're going to look into the divine masculine, divine feminine, and the union from kind of like a lower level to kind of like bring it down a little bit to the 3D, the physical, and how you're feeling about the connection and all that good stuff. So if you want to join me over there, make sure that you are checking us out. And I'm sending you so much love, so much light, and we'll be back on the other side of this 1111 portal to see how it is affecting both counterparts with a brand new Sacred Union energy update. I'm sending lots of love and lots of light.